You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. Monday, November 24th. Thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. I know it's Monday. It's the start of a new work week, but let's be honest, it's a holiday week. I'm assuming the majority of us don't have to stare ahead of a long work week with Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. So not a bad week here in the Quad Cities or wherever you're watching the show at. A gloomy day here in the Quad Cities. So a good reason to stick and stay inside and check out a full Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we thank you for that. We appreciate that. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do so ASAP. Almost 1,400 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,500 before the end of the year. So please subscribe, tell a friend or two if you haven't done that. Also, be active. The chat is up and going. It's been much more active in recent weeks. I kind of explained this a few times, but when I first started this thing, I had no idea what I was doing. So the chat was active. I was just busy trying to make sure I did everything else correctly. Not that I'm not still busy, but my load management is a little better, so I'm able to chat a little more. Some great guests coming up today, so get on the chat. Tell us what you think about the Bears, the Lions, Iowa football, all those kind of things. Ask questions to guests. It should be a bunch of fun today and every day right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us, so we thank everyone on X for watching the show as well. We're also available on all the podcasting platforms as well, so whether you go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, you can check out the show and not have to look at me, which is a beautiful thing for you and our guests as well. You don't have to look at them. You can just listen to the show. I am slumming it today. It's a Monday in the Quad Cities. I looked outside. I almost didn't want to get out of bed. I said, you know what? I may oversleep a little bit. I'm going to throw the hat on, throw on a sweatshirt, and go upstairs and do the show. So that's the beauty of not being in TV anymore, is I can slum it a little bit every now and then as well. So and also our viewers in Central Iowa, we come your way each and every evening at 7 p.m. on the WHO streaming app. We thank you guys for watching, for your feedback, all that kind of stuff. It's been a lot of fun being part of that community and doing that up there as well. We have a full, fantastic 2-hour show for you today. This thing's going to take the entire 2 hours, I think, if not more. Hopefully not more. But we're going to start off here in a matter of moments with our good friend Pat Anger, as we do each and every Monday here in the Quad Cities. Iowa, crazy game. Senior day wasn't pretty. They win. They're now 7-4. A lot of seniors to celebrate. We'll talk about that with Pat. We'll talk about his crazy busy week. He called some 2A and 3A state football championship games. We'll also talk a little Thanksgiving with Pat as well. So Pat Anger, always entertaining, comes your way in just a matter of moments. We also have a really special guest later on in hour number 1. Mark Abbott is the voice that you've heard at Kinnick Stadium for the last 26 years, the public address announcer at Kinnick Stadium. It's somebody that, and I covered Iowa football for 20 plus years, and running up and down those sidelines, you heard this voice. And Mark Abbott is officially retiring from that job at the University of Iowa after an amazing 26 years. We're going to talk to him about how he got involved in doing it, what's it been like, his favorite games, memories, players, all those kind of things. Mark Abbott coming up a little bit later on in hour number 2 of the show. I'm really looking forward to that interview. Also, high school basketball season isn't coming. It's officially here. The ladies got going in Illinois last week. The boys get going today, tonight, this week as well. Basketball, high school basketball, all over the area, up and going. And we're going to try to preview at least one or two games, or not games, but teams per day as we get rolling into the season. On Friday, we had Mark Polite on from Rock Island. If you missed that, go check it out. Mark Polite doing a great job. Rock Island, high expectations in the Western Big Six as well. Last year, one of the best stories in our area was at Sherrard. Alex Johnson and the Tigers doing amazing things, winning conference, winning regionals, winning sectional, all those kind of things, playing really, really good basketball. They'll look a little different this year, but the foundation is set out at Sherrard. Alex Johnson will join us in hour number 2 of the show. Also, Alex Johnson, a proud member of that historic three-peat East Moline Glass Bettendorf C-League Championship reign, one that I was part of, Andy Say was part of, so many great people around the Quad Cities were part of. Okay, enough of that nonsense. But Alex Johnson coming up later on in hour number 2. And also, it's Marxy Monday. We'll talk with John Marx about a lot of stuff. The Bears are in first place. The Lions looked awful yesterday, still won. We'll talk about Illinois football. That wasn't pretty on Saturday, but keeping things in perspective, Illinois fans, because I saw way too much Brett Bielema hate on social media on Saturday night. I'm not sure if I get it, if I understand it, but we'll talk all about that with John Marks coming up later in hour number 2 of the show as well. We mentioned Bears winning once again, 31-28 over the Steelers. The Steelers are a good football team. Weren't playing with Aaron Rodgers. It was another it was a backup quarterback or another subpar quarterback against the Bears. But overall, I think the Steelers are a good football team, good defense. Bears win once again. They're now 8-3. They have a Black Friday showdown with the Eagles, but they're in first place all alone in the NFC North. And I've said from the jump here on the show, you don't apologize for victories. A win is a win. And I know that from my football teams this weekend because Iowa looked like they were going to lose the entire time and ended up winning. The Lions didn't lead until overtime, and they ended up winning. So you don't apologize for winning in football or in the NFL. But things get much more difficult for the Bears after this, and we'll see if barely beating these type of teams will equate when they play Philadelphia. They got the Packers 2 of the next 3 weeks. San Francisco down the line, the Lions one more time, all those kind of things. So, but a win is a win, 8-3. We'll talk Lions and Bears and all those kind of stuff coming up a little bit later in the show. As I mentioned, Packers and Lions both win. So it's a tight NFC North race. Iowa won 20-17. We had a Pat Anger in a second. The Illini fell 27-10. At Wisconsin, and then Iowa State won as well. Before we get to Pat Anger, our off-the-air poll question of the day. It is Thanksgiving week, and we're not going to have a full week. We'll have a show today, no show tomorrow. I got some stuff in Iowa City I have to take care of. Wednesday, we'll have a show. No show on Thanksgiving. We'll actually have a show on Black Friday. After the Iowa game wraps up, we'll do a post-game show that we've been doing with most Iowa and college football games this year. So we'll have that, and then, of course, the weekend is the weekend. So I want to start talking about Thanksgiving today because it is a shorter week here on the show. And we've talked a little bit about it last week. A little part of me thinks that Thanksgiving food is overrated. I like it. I eat it. I'm a turkey guy. I enjoy it. But I don't understand that the fact that there's a day in which we eat and we're allowed to just eat, and we eat the foods that we have like once a year, maybe twice a year. Like, let's have the really good food that we eat all the time that we love. But I do like Thanksgiving food. So the question today is, of these things, which one would you have to keep on your plate at Thanksgiving? Turkey, stuffing, or dressing? I don't know what you call it. I've heard it called both. I think I call it stuffing. But anyways, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole. Those are we went main dish. We didn't go dessert. If you want to type in dessert or comment dessert, pumpkin pie, all that kind of stuff, pumpkin bars, whatever, do that as well. Gosh, I'm getting hungry and it's only 10 a.m. But that's the poll question for today. Let's have some Thanksgiving fun. What's that food at Thanksgiving that you have to have on your plate? And if it's not one of those 4, comment below on X and let me know which one that it would be. A lot to get to. Full show today, and we start as we do every single Monday right here on OTA. It is Monday. It's gloomy outside, but the ray of sunshine in our lives is always Pat Anger. How about that for an introduction? That's pretty good.
That was beautiful. That was the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to make you feel good. Happy Monday. Are you ready for the holidays and and Thanksgiving. Do you even know it's Thanksgiving on Thursday? My wife was like last night, she's like, hey, on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I'm like, say what? Like Thanksgiving's already here? Like, do you know what's going on this week?
It's funny because last week somebody at work was talking. They were like, well, I won't see you next week. Have a happy holiday. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, Thanksgiving's next week. I'm like, are you serious? Like, wow. It's just last week was crazy for me. And but unfortunately, obviously, I won't be able to spend Thanksgiving with my family, which when you're in sports, you usually don't spend Thanksgiving or Christmas or with your family. But I get to spend it with my radio family in Lincoln. And if I can't be with my family, then my radio family will do great. We'll have a good time.
I found out on Saturday that Corey Sheets doesn't like turkey. What will you guys do for Thanksgiving? Have you guys sat around and been like, hey, I feel like, and this is too old for you probably, but Cheers has a great episode on Thanksgiving where they all get together from the bar for Thanksgiving and they all bring different things and they have a huge food fight and it's dysfunctional and crazy. I feel like that could happen with you guys, with like Dolph throwing some cranberry sauce at like Corey and then Corey throwing something at you and it just goes crazy. Swish like takes the table. I mean, is there plans for Thanksgiving?
The only plans that I know we have is that Rob Brooks is buying. So that's a big deal, and we're all really excited about it, and we're thankful. So we might end up at a Wendy's, but either way, it'll be a good time.
I was going to say probably steak and lobster someplace if Brooksy's.
I hope so.
Doing it as well. Real quick before we start talking Iowa football, you did mention you were busy last week. In all honesty, I watched probably half of the 2A state championship game. I thought you did a great job. What was it like being? People that don't know, for PBS, Pat called was on color commentary for 2A and 3A, I believe. I know you're a little nervous last week. I thought you did a great job. What was it like being up there and covering something a little different, but still covering football like you've been doing for the last couple of years?
I was scared. I was really scared. I was terrified. No idea how to do TV at all. And it was the first time I've done TV, and first time I've done a game where I'm not rooting for one team. That was different. But having Sean there, Kenny, obviously a veteran guy, he's got his two buddies from high school, the Rue brothers, and they are their spotters and statisticians, or however you say that word. But they were so kind and so great. And PBS did a phenomenal job, and it was an enjoyable experience. Super nervous going into it, and then kind of got the groove there halfway through. It was a little bit different, not different, but it was hard doing one game and then like 20 minutes later you're doing another game. Yeah. You figure out the names, and you watch film on these teams, you study these teams, you talk to their coaches and all that stuff, but still you don't have a good, I would say like a good huge background on these teams. Really fun to watch. I thought all the kids competed extremely hard. Just loved the energy, loved all the coaches. They were great to talk to. What's funny about, you talk to all these coaches. So I did Kemper Catholic, Van Meter, Nevada, and Bishop Heelan, and talked to all their coaches. And not one of them was like, yeah, I'm doing a great job. They're like, we don't know anything. Our kids work really hard, and I've got great assistants. Like not one of them took credit for anything that they've done. That's and awesome. These guys have really done a great job with their programs. A lot of those teams are pretty much always in the finals. It was Nevada's actual first time in the finals, and they ended up winning against a really good Bishop Heelan team. But fun to be a part of. Brought back a lot of great memories. I remember my senior year, sophomore year, we lost in the state finals. Senior year, we ended up winning. And growing up, always going to the state finals, and because Bettendorf was always there. Now they're never there. But I grew up going. I grew up, living at the Dome. We would go. It was, if you were at Bettendorf and you didn't go to the Dome, your season was an absolute failure. And now, I think the kids are dyeing their hair when they make it to the playoffs. But for us growing up in Bettendorf, the Dome was their home, and it needs to hopefully get back there, because I had such a fun time there. And I sitting there and I'm thinking about, man, how cool it would be if those Bettendorf boys were up there and I was doing this when my kids were playing. I would be very biased as a commentator.
You should be. Did you think to, like, maybe I should call Ryan Fick and thank him for winning us the state championship? Did you take the time to do that?
You know what? It's funny because I mean, everybody talks about my game, that game. I think I only had like 12 tackles.
That's all.
But yeah,
Oh,
but Ryan set the state championship game record for most passing yards.
say it again louder for the people in the back.
Ryan Fix set the
Yes.
state championship game for most passing yards and completely dominated that game. And yeah, he doesn't have an ego at all. So I don't want to. I don't want to get him to where he's cocky, but yeah, Fick did carry us.
No, it was fun listening to you. Hey, I've done this for 25 years. I've never called a state championship game. You stumbled upon radio a year ago, and you're calling state championship games. It makes sense. Like that's life.
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing ever. It's a weird.
What does
Life
Corey
is weird,
tell you?
man.
What does Corey tell you? Fake it until you make it. Isn't that what he says?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Lean on Dolph. I think you say the same thing.
Yeah.
Just lean on Dolph. And
Yeah.
I was leaning on Sean Kenny on Friday morning.
All right, Iowa football. Like, I mean, just like I got in my car that day and that night, and I was like, what just happened? The Iowa Hawkeyes, a special senior night, and we talked with Tom Kakert, and we did a show on Saturday, and he's like, even in the press box, people are like, worst loss since, and this is going to be really bad, and then somehow, some way, they win the football game. Your overall thoughts on Saturday night at Kinnick Stadium and the comeback on senior day?
Yeah, it was a tough 3 quarters. That third quarter they came out and it was like, wow, did they get a lead that's too unattainable for us, and we just couldn't get anything going. Could not get anything going. Had a great stand in the red zone on defense, but offensively just couldn't get anything going. Had a great spark. Obviously, the big stories. Caden Weegan had a huge spark. I think they beat us in every stat possible as far as a team stat goes, but it's about those hidden yardages, right? I think probably if you add Weegan's 160 yards of returns, we probably outgain them by over 100 yards. That stuff's important. That's very important. It's something that we are so lucky to have a guy like that, and I just love the fact that these guys battled. They came together. And they got it done. And they didn't play great. They'll all tell you they didn't play great. But when you can not play your best and still come out and win, that's huge. And that shows a lot about the culture and the team and the leadership that they have.
This season, a lot of people have said like Iowa lost some games they shouldn't have, or Iowa even felt like, man, we let these games slip away. So I think it probably evens out a little bit where you probably won a game that you maybe didn't deserve to win, if that makes any sense, because I don't think there's an undeserving win. I don't want to say it like that, but probably didn't play your best football and you still won the football game as well. I want to talk about Weegan a little bit more because you remember Tim Dwight. I mean, I remember him. He's one of the best ever. When you're surpassing that guy, you're doing something special. We've always talked about him on the field, and you can touch on that a little bit. But I loved the conversation on the postgame show that you and Dolph and Caden Weegan had, because it wasn't an interview, if that makes any sense. The best interviews you have are just conversations, and it felt like we were listening in to 3 dudes talking about football. He seems so entertaining, so down to earth. Talk about him, the football player, but then the kid you've gotten to know, the young man you've gotten to know a little bit as well, because he seems like he would fit in a few text conversations that we might belong to as well.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about how tough the post game is going to be if we don't get this win. It would not have been, and then it turned into a super enjoyable post game show. And it seems like we talk to Weegan every other week because he's always doing something spectacular. He's got it all. He's got the same attributes as you've got to be a little crazy, you got to be a little nuts, and Tim Dwight was that way. And is that way, and Caden Weegan is the exact same, and just a great dude. You love to see good kids do well, and he's a fighter. He's wiry, like he's tough. He's fearless. He's got it all, and such a great spark for us. Like just an unbelievable weapon. And I don't know if I've seen a returner just completely take over a game like that. Take over and they just kept kicking it to him, which was really weird.
Pat, why did they do that? Like, honestly, after the game, Coach Smith said that they knew how good he was and they wanted to challenge him early. Like, I know he's 0-8 and you're not about firing coaches, but how are you challenging you can take something away from a team and instead you try to challenge him. It was just mind-boggling. They kept kicking the football to him, especially early in the game.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, I mean, it wasn't like he was catching these things free. Like he had gunners in his face.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were in position and they had spread the field really well. It wasn't like the coverage team was bad. It's just they couldn't get him down. Yeah, I wanted to ask Weegan. I'm like, I wanted to ask Coach Sunday morning if you were playing Weegan, how would you approach it? But I just didn't get to it. Yeah, I don't know why you got to give you almost. I think a little bit of it's ego, and you've got to kind of check your ego out of that. Like, all right, hey, I think we can cover. I think we can do a good thing. I think we can, bottle them up. But I don't know, man. You gotta kick it out of bounds. Yeah. You have to. It'll be interesting to see how Nebraska approach it. What's funny too, not funny, but what's interesting as well. And this is the first time we saw it. They came out in their offense and they backed their quarterback up, and their quarterback did their quick punting toward the end. But I'd be interested to see if that's something that people continue to do. But what's also cool about that is, they had to spend this week putting that punt formation in. So they're wasting an extra 30 minutes of practice with this new punt formation when they could be working on something else. So his danger, his skill is taking time away from other teams' progress during the week. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's how you know you're the man. Yeah. I tell you what, nobody spent an extra 30 minutes of practice worrying about my ass. I can tell you.
No, never. Pat Anger joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I want to talk. I might as well just replay your post-game show as this show because it was really, really good, and it makes the trip home from Iowa City easy. But you talked to Drew Stevens, and he talked about LeVar Woods. And LeVar, and he just said he's nuts or obsessed. I can't remember which word he used when it comes to his coaching. And they went out because they knew they were going to be playing in the rain at USC, and they went out to a golf course and soaked the fairways in order to get used to planting in the type of grass that they were going to be seeing at USC. Pat, I know LeVar is really good football coach. He's a little bit crazy too. That's amazing to hear, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny, that Bermuda grass.
But what's the fairway? I've never been in the fairway, so I thought
honestly, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I've kicked it there, but I've never been there legally. Yeah. It's something. I played special teams my 4 years in the league, and was a huge part of special teams with the Colts, and obviously played special teams in Iowa. I've never heard of that. Never heard of that. It's absolutely genius. Yeah. Absolutely genius, and. LeVar, no surprise that he's changing the standard and setting the tone there. The guy's a stud and absolute. On top of all that, just a great human being.
Yeah. The 3 quarters, besides the Weegan touchdown, 3 quarters didn't happen, in my opinion. Let's get to the 4th quarter. And I asked Tom Caker this, and I don't know if Tom knew the answer. I don't know if you do. What changed in the 4th quarter with this Iowa football team in the offense?
We asked Coach that too, and he's like, I don't know. I have no idea. But what was interesting is, when we started really passing well was when they knew we were passing, which I thought was interesting. When they were loading the box, with 25 guys in the box, we couldn't get the ball out. But when we spread it out and we were in passing downs and they knew we had to pass to get the ball down the field, we had success. Mark made some spectacular throws. Mark made some really good throws. That throw to Jacob Gill, just right on his forehead, was phenomenal. And what a great catch. I mean, God dang, that catch was unbelievable. And then Vanami made some really good there were some mismatches there with him and a linebacker, and he stepped up and made some good catches. You forget that he's a redshirt freshman. And then, Vanderzee's catch too on the sideline, basically had to pull it off. And that was another good throw. I want to say it hit Vanderzee like in the elbow right here. And he was able to pull that in. And it's, the last, Oregon, USC, And Indiana, there were some plays there that it was like, there's nothing we can do. Like that was just a perfect throw. And we haven't had any of those go our way. And we had a couple of those go our way in the fourth quarter, which was great.
Yeah. Pat, I look at it and it's interesting because Iowa hasn't had players.
You can say we. You can say we.
I'm a pregame. I'm so guarded against it, man. For 25 years, if I said we, like I'd just be reamed by viewers. So I guess when you do the radio, you're we. But they had wide receivers go make plays. And yes, you talked about Mark making throws, and a lot of them were really good throws. But you had wide receivers winning one-on-one battles and making plays. And I know Mark's been, it's been an up and down ride, and he has his critics, but he hasn't had too many wide receivers go make a play for him. I thought it was great in the fourth quarter to see wide receivers go win battles and make plays when they needed it the most.
Oh, heck yeah. And that's got to give them just a ton of confidence just going into the remainder of the season and going into this week. Those guys stepped up big. And it's just like this team in general. There's no quitting them. There's no fighting them. And they're just a team you want to root for because they're good guys and they do it the right way. And that's why it's even so much more meaningful that they got this win because they haven't had the opportunity to really get one of these. And they did. They pulled it through. And that's awesome, man. It was a little bit emotional and it was great, man. I'm proud of all these guys. They're good Hawks.
Last one for this game. Drew Stevens has set a lot of records. He fittingly caps off his career with a walk-off winner. Just talk about that guy. You had him on the post game. I've talked to him in the pregame. There's no shortage of confidence when it comes to Drew Stevens, and I mean that in the nicest way. Just him capping, and that's what you love about a game like that. You look and you say, Weegan, senior, Gronowski, senior, Drew Stevens, senior, Carson Shire, we haven't even talked about, senior, had a fantastic game. Those are cool. Talk about him, winning and he missed the first of two when it came to the practice one, calling a timeout, all those kind of things. Your thoughts on Drew Stevens fittingly capping off his career at Kinnick with a game-winning field goal?
Yeah, you can. When you talk to him on the radio, you can really tell that. He does not lack confidence at all, which is great. I played with a kicker, Hall of Fame kicker, one of the greatest of all time, that didn't have a lack of confidence. That was Adam Vinatieri. Very, very similar. But yeah, it was great. It's interesting. Like, if you're going to call the timeout, you've got to call the timeout. If you're the other team and they're kicking, you've got to call the timeout to where they can't get a practice kick.
Yeah.
You can't, because then they can get a free shot at it. And Justin, what's interesting is it actually worked the opposite on the first one because he made the first one, then missed the second one. Yeah, proud of him for bouncing back and going strong. And you talk about Tim DeWhite, Weegan breaking Tim DeWhite's record, and Drew Stevens broke Nate Kading's record. It's like these are two absolute pillars of Iowa football: Tim DeWhite and Caden Weegan and Nate Kading, and their record's getting broken this year. It just shows the talent and the consistency that we have on this Iowa football team.
All right, it's Nebraska week. It's becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger rivalry. Although rivalries are usually competitive when it comes to one team wins and then another team wins, it's been Iowa 9 of the last 10 years. And I guess your thoughts on the rivalry first, because I know fans go back and forth. They usually argue and get at each other, and then Iowa says, hey, we won 9 out of 10. And then Nebraska usually defaults to winning some national championships like 40, 50 years ago as they're like, get out of jail free card, which doesn't make any sense. But your thoughts on the rivalry, where it ranks when it comes to the Iowa States, the Minnesotas, the Wisconsins, games like that. It's getting there as being one of the biggest games of the season.
It's different for me because there was never that rivalry when I played. Yeah. So it's a little bit different for me. But what it seems like, this has grown into a pretty big one. They always do. Yeah, we've won a lot recently, but it's always been down to the wire. It's always been extremely close, and they're going to play hard. I wore red because you got to know your enemy, right? You've got to know your enemy. So I want to learn about.
I thought you were doing a heel turn, and you're going to there's an N on that red somewhere.
I look like the Kool-Aid man today. Me running through walls.
Stop. Go on.
But Yeah, it'll be a tough game, and I haven't watched any tape. I literally got home for the first time since Thursday at like 5 p.m. last night. So I haven't really got into much, but I know they've obviously had some quarterback issues, and Matt Rule is a good football coach, and he knows his stuff, and their defense is a great defense. They always play really hard, and very competitive team, and they're coming off really a butt kicking. They got beat down pretty good on Saturday, so they'll be ready to go, and we'll obviously want to cap this off. We want to win. We want to win against Nebraska, and we want to finish this season right.
Is the Kool-Aid Man still a thing? Like, is the Kool-Aid Man still exist?
Hope so.
I
sure
hope so. Because one of my favorite
today.
references. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Last one, football wise. Is it weird having a shorter week, player wise? What do you do differently? I know it's about getting your body right. I know all those kind of things. Is there a big difference between having one less day to get ready for a rivalry game and a big game on Black Friday?
I always liked as a player, mentally, I always liked the preparation for a Thursday game in the NFL. Physically on your body, it was not great, just because all the painkillers and adrenaline, everything wears off on Wednesday, and then you're a day before the game and you realize you got a broken leg. But the preparation on a shorter week, the preparation, it just seems like it's just smoother. Hey, we're going to do this, and we're not going to go anywhere else. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do what we do best, and that's what we're going to do. Because sometimes, like when you get too many days of, well, what if they do this, and what if they do that, and what if we come out in here and they line up in this? It kind of confuses things. There's too many what ifs when you get enough time. You kind of run into that with the bowl game stuff. Yeah. So for a player, for me, I prefer the short week, but obviously a lot of it does depend on health wise. Like, am I healthy going into it? Do I need that extra day to prepare health wise? But mentally, and just as far as like how the week usually goes, just from contact and from installation, I personally prefer a shorter week.
It's a shorter week for me. I'm doing a show on Monday and Wednesday, and that's it. So I'm already talking about Thanksgiving today on the show. We talked a little bit. I think there's a little bit of Thanksgiving food can be overrated. And if it was such good food, why do we only eat it like once a year? But I do enjoy it. I don't think it's a bad meal. I just think like it's a little overrated because, like I said, if it's really good, you should eat it all the time. If you had to get rid of one thing, or if you could only keep one thing on your Thanksgiving plate, what would it be? Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, pumpkin pie. What would it be for you? You could only keep one thing, and you have to get rid of everything else.
Probably whiskey.
That's not one of the poll choice questions today.
People don't do that?
No. I mean, well,
okay.
We do. I'll tell you about it later, but OG Wheezy, we do a little Wild Turkey Wednesday, and that's much different than the actual Thursday. But you can't do whiskey. You got to do some type of food. You're going to look like an alcoholic.
I'm a big green bean casserole guy. I love green bean casserole. It's my favorite.
Of everything you could have, green bean casserole.
I love green bean casserole. And then you get your protein, with a couple Busch Lights or whatever, and
some dessert with some whiskey, and you're good to go.
A little nightcap, you're good.
When do you guys leave? Do you leave on Thanksgiving?
Yes, I think so. I'm assuming. I'll have to check.
Oh.
I need Corey to tell me where to go and when to go.
I understand. I get it. Hey, take a day, relax a little bit. You are the media face of the state of Iowa right now.
No, I'm not. No,
yes, I mean, it's amazing what you're doing. TV, radio, you're killing it. I mean it. You're doing a great job. Enjoy your Monday. Get back to work. Do all that. Do that real job you have, and we'll catch up soon.
I need to do a better job there. They're like extremely nice to me, and I need to make sure that I take care of them because IH is the absolute best credit union in the world.
That's well done. Get out of here. See you, buddy.
Love you. See you, buddy.
All right. That is Pat Anger joining us, as he does every Monday, right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A lot to get to with him because that football game was crazy. I know it was that type of weekend in the Randazzo house. I think I wasn't here for the Iowa game, but I think my kids were pretty frustrated with the Iowa football game, and then they end up winning. And then obviously the Lions played awful and trailed the entire game, then forced overtime and won. So it ended up being a good weekend here at the Randazzo house for football, but Sure didn't seem like it the majority of the time. But of course, it's Iowa, Nebraska, Black Friday, 11 o'clock start. I think it's on CBS. We will get you going with the Hawkeye Tailgate Show live from Big Grove Brewery on Friday morning, Black Friday morning at 9 a.m. So if you're out shopping, Christmas shopping, doing all those things that people do on Black Friday, if you're out finding your Christmas tree, all those kind of things, swing by Big Grove in Iowa City, and of course watch the game there. But we'll be there from 9 to 10 o'clock doing the Hawkeye Tailgate Show on the Hawkeye Radio Network around the great state of Iowa. We got more to get to. Coming up after the break, we'll stick with the Hawkeye theme. Longtime voice of Kinnick Stadium, the public address announcer in Iowa City for the Iowa football program for the last 26 years is Mark Abbott. He retired. He's retiring. Saturday was his last game. He's going to join us right here on the show to talk about the memories, the moments that have been special to him for the last 26 years. Trust me, you will not want to miss this. We got it for you next right here on OTA. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. It was a special weekend at Kinnick Stadium. We've talked about it already with our good friend Pan Angerer, but we said goodbye, or Iowa said goodbye to a special group of seniors playing at Kinnick Stadium for the last time. But it wasn't the only last at Kinnick Stadium, and everybody's heard his voice. Public address announcer Mark Abbott called his final Iowa football game. He's retiring now at the end of the season, and joining me now to talk all about what has to be a bunch of great memories. Mark Abbott himself joins us right now. Mark, thank you for doing this. I told you before we started, I roamed those sidelines for 25 years with a camera on my shoulder, and you were what I listened to. So first and foremost, congratulations. What was Saturday like for you?
Oh boy. Well, thanks for having me, Matt. I have to say, I probably have underestimated what I've done over all these years. And Saturday was really kind of a bit overwhelming for me. I've always thought I just went and did my job, and that was the end of it. But I've had just a boatload of people reach out and say very nice things, which I certainly appreciate, but I never realized that people are that invested in in what I did. I always thought that it was just a honor and a privilege to be a small part of the Hawkeye football experience at Kinnick Stadium, and as it turns out, it was for 26 years. So that Saturday was just a really very interesting and heartwarming day for me.
Mark, I want to talk about the career and the 26 years in a second, but let's stick with Saturday. Was Saturday different? Going to Kinnick for the last time as the PA guy. You're not going for the last time. You'll be back, I'm sure. But did it feel different? Did the game feel different? Was it in the back of your mind, or did you just go there thinking, I got a job to do like I've done so many, I think over 200 times in your amazing career? What was Saturday night or Saturday like mindset wise for you?
Well, I prepared the same as I would always prepare. And so when I went to up to the press box, which I do usually 2 hours early, test the mics and then be available should there be any kind of an announcement that needed to be made of one form or another. But other than that, in the back of my mind this is the last time you're going to do this. So enjoy it and make the best of it, and do what you do, and just take a look around and drink it all in, and remember all of the times that you've done it before, and just do what you do.
Yeah, you couldn't sneak away without it being a little special. I know one of the things is another legend, Gary Dolphin, had you as an interview at halftime of the radio broadcast of the game. What was the end of that game like? Because you couldn't ease into retirement. It wasn't like we wish it was like a 28-point lead and we could have eased our way into it. What a way to finish your career on a microphone than to watch that finish at Kinnick Stadium. What was the end like for you on Saturday night?
Well, I mean, it was awesome. Every game, it seems to me, at some point has something that's memorable. I've always felt that, I walked away from every game with something that was memorable. Now, I did 174 games, so wow. I can't spit out what was memorable in every game by any means, but games like that end like this one did, come along, if we're lucky, every couple years maybe, and yet when it happens, it is just it's amazing, and you can just feel the electricity in the air. It's awesome. It's what we're there for. We're there to win games, and no matter how it works, as long as you win, that's great. If it turns out like this game did, that is even more exciting. And so, I'm a fan too. I'm wrapped up in this too. So it's pretty darn exciting to have something like that happen. And then I can say that that the kick is good, and yet it's loud enough in the stadium that people can barely hear me, and that's awesome. That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Mark Abbott joining us right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. I got to ask you, Mark, how did you become the PA guy at the University of Iowa? You look back at the history of it, and just like athletic directors, almost just like football coaches, there's not too many changes. You took over from Father Bob Holtzhammer in 99. I think your first year was 2000. And I think before that, there was a Bob Sutter, I think, or Bud Sutter, I think was there.
Bud Suter.
Bud Suter. Thank you.
Yes.
Bud Suter was there, I think, 25 before him. So how did this all come about? How did you become the PA guy at Kinnick Stadium?
Well, I was working for the athletic department. I'd been there since 1989 doing various things. And when it was time to replace Father Bob, he had been doing both men's basketball and football, which was just a superhuman experience for him, I'm sure. I mean, that's hard work. I mean, I'm tired after doing football, and he's doing both, and sometimes both in one day. the department decided, number one, to split those two sports. So there was a separate PA announcer for men's basketball and for football. And what the thought process was to find someone that knew a little bit about football, and then to find someone with some sort of a pleasing voice or whatever you want to say as it relates to that. And then the third criterion was to have someone that was relatively close to physically to the department, so that the passing of information and the dissemination of information between the PA announcer and the department would be fairly easily done. And so I didn't really have any particular experience as a PA announcer. I had done a couple of women's gymnastics meets they'd asked me to do, and I did, I think, one swimming meet, and that's about it. So I really didn't have a great deal of experience. So we gave it a shot at the spring game. Really, Kirk really calls them practices now, spring practice, in 2000. And that apparently went well. So they asked me to continue. So I my first year, as you mentioned, was 2000. And that's really how it happened. And obviously, if you're asked to do something like that job, it's really hard to say, I don't think so. Right. This doesn't seem to be something I'd be interested in. So that's really how it started. And quite frankly, I had no plan as to, how this was going to go. I didn't know if it was going to go for 1 year, 5 years. I had no long-term plan at all. So 1 year leads to 2, and 2 to 5, and all of a sudden we're at 26.
Yeah, 5 leads to 26, and you've done a fantastic job. Mark, were you, and this is almost just a personal question, were you nervous? I just got to, and I grew up an Iowa fan. I listened to Jim Albrecht do the pregame show. I'm on the radio growing up, and I get
Right.
to, I don't know why, but I get to kick off that broadcast every week this year. And I've done TV for 25 years. And I told my wife going up to Iowa City the first time, I'm like, I feel like this is my first sportscast ever in the Quad Cities. Like I'm nervous doing it. Was there, and I remember Pat Anger last year becoming the color commentator, and it's big old tough Pat. And I've never seen him more nervous and worried in my life. Did you have nerves? And when did you become comfortable being the voice at Kinnick Stadium each and every Saturday?
Well, I don't, I don't remember specifically, but I would certainly think that there was some discomfort in the first few games anyway, and I can tell you this, that through each and every one of those games, I could, the adrenaline starts to flow, and because you really have to be on top of your game for the entire game. And so I don't know that I was feeling a lot of nerves necessarily at any particular time after the first, I don't know, the first year or two anyway. I was pretty comfortable doing what I was doing. But, every time I got up there and till through yesterday, you can just feel the adrenaline. I mean, you're just hyped up, you're ready to go. And, it's time to move on. When they say, read your opening, I read my opening, and off we go. So not so much nerves, but certainly sort of a heightened sensibility and a level where you have to be ready to do what you're going to do. And it has to be that way for the whole game.
Yeah, the voice of Kinnick Stadium, Mark Abbott, joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. This is the hardest question, and it's a dumb question. I hate asking it because it's like picking your favorite kid and all of those kind of things, because there's so many great moments and memories. I want to start with favorite game. I know it's hard to do, but what's your favorite game that you've been behind the mic for? Don't take me back to maybe as a fan or anything like that. You've been the PA guy. Everybody talks about that game in '85 that people talk about ever so often, but yes. What is your favorite game that you've been on the microphone for at Kinnick Stadium, or do you have one?
Well, Um, I actually, I've been asked this question before, and you're right. It's like trying to pick out your favorite child. But there are two in particular that stick in my mind. One was the 2002 game against Purdue that Dallas Clark had two touchdown catches in that game. One went for 95 yards, I think, and then the other one was a fourth down pass to him in a short pass into the end zone that really pulled us into the lead that won that game. And Brad Banks had a couple of big plays. He had a long run in that game that was kept the last drive alive. And I was just reading today. Kirk mentioned that game, and it was not a particularly well played game by Brad Banks, but he did what he had to do to win, and that game was so early in Kirk's career that it really was one of those that cemented the basis of what's happened since then. And then I don't think any Hawkeye fan will ever likely forget the 2017 game against Ohio State, where they came in loaded. They're as usual, a big time Ohio State team, and we just took them out of their game, and just as it turns out, we blew them out, and they kind of just in my opinion they were so surprised that they just didn't have an answer. We intercepted the first play of the game for a pick six, and things went from there. So certainly, that particular game is one that you just can't forget. It was so out of what the possibility looked like would happen in a game like that against Ohio State that it's always one of the games that if people ask me about it, that's one that always I'll mention.
I want to switch you from game to moment, and it may be the same thing. You could use probably the same stuff if you want to, and it doesn't have to be a football moment. One thing that I always tell people ask me, what's your favorite memory at Kinnick? And mine is, obviously, I know the family being from the Quad Cities, and I know Brett really well, but Brett leading the team out, going back to Kinnick Stadium with Pat, and Matt Rokes was there, and just the emotion of that. Do you have a moment or two? The games are one thing, but is there a moment that you remember the most at Kinnick Stadium?
Well, yeah, and you're right. That particular, I think that was in 2015.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 16. I think 15 or 16.
That's right. But yeah, and that was a very emotional moment. But I can tell you that every time I introduce the wave, I get emotional, and every time I read the information about the kid captain and what those young people have had to go through in their young lives medically. Those are the things that they're not directly football related, but they are the kinds of things that you never ever forget or get over. Those are the things that happen that you just you just say I'm so happy I had a chance to be involved. And last, the other thing, as what happened yesterday, every time that you go through and read the names of the seniors and these kids that have been in the program for anywhere from just a year or so to 4 or 5 years, sometimes even 6. That is a moving time. I mean, they've given so much to the program that it's just a really highlight for me to acknowledge them.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, I didn't even think about the senior day. To see them embrace their parents while you're reading their story, it's
Yeah, you
amazing.
bet. Yep.
Players, is there a few players that stood out amongst the rest? And maybe not just you said their name, but because maybe they said something to you, or you got to watch them play and you just loved watching them play every Saturday. Is there a few players that stick out in those 26 years of greatness?
Well, I really enjoyed watching Sean Green run. Um, but there are just so many of them that have done amazing things. Jay Higgins, for example, um, and Matt Campbell, or Jack Campbell, sorry, Jack Campbell. Um, these guys, every time that there's a big play, I'm calling their name. And there are a ton of those guys. But there are some guys that just stick in your mind because that every time there's a big play, they're there. And for example, yesterday, he had a good year this year, but he had a great game yesterday, and I called Carson Shire's name time
Yeah.
after time because he had a great game. And those are the things that stick in my mind. The guys that every guy that played for us is important to me. But there are some that you just keep mentioning their name. Christian Ballard, or uh, Broderick Binns, or there's just a ton of them. I could go on and on, but uh, you know, some guys just for whatever reason they make a difference in your mind. And it happens a lot, and then there's often one on every team.
Yeah, absolutely. A few more for the retiring public address announcer at Kinnick Stadium, Mark Abbott. What's the hardest name? Did you ever have a problem with a name? I'm really, if I have an Achilles heel, I actually have a lot of Achilles heels. But if I have a kryptonite, it's a name that I look at and go, oh no. And if I get it wrong the first time, I can't get it right. It's tough. So someone like yourself, I mean, you mentioned going in and practicing the names. You're not just doing that for the Iowa Hawkeyes, for what, 8 different teams that come in every year. So I don't even want, is there a name that stands out to you that you're like, oh, I survived that name, that name?
You, here's a great thing about that. It's kind of amazing in a way. Uh, So often, the hard names are offensive linemen, and so they get nothing from me.
Yeah,
Generally. So unless they recover a fumble or get hurt or something, I never worry about them.
sure.
So that's always a good thing. I do remember. I've been fairly lucky. I have a pretty easy time pronouncing names. And so, as you mentioned, we get phonetic spelling of the most difficult names for each opposing team. There are some that panic me to death. And I can tell you, for example, that Oregon, they tend to have some people with lengthy names that come from Samoa or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I work on those, and then I also meet with someone from their sports information department before each game, and we go over those too, the hardest ones. I remember relatively early in my career, we were playing Arizona, and Arizona had a linebacker whose name I just struggled with, and he made 2 tackles. He made one in the middle of the game somewhere, and I struggled through it, and unless his mom was there, I think I was okay. And then at the last play of the game, he made the tackle. We won, game over, and that's it. And I said something, and it wasn't even close to what his name was, and everybody's cheering, and nobody heard it, and I walked away feeling pretty good about myself. Yeah, I mean, every team has a few names here and there that you struggle with. Our
Mark,
guy's okay, no
yeah,
problem.
you got the Hawkeyes down
It's
good.
the other guys.
I bet.
You know, I
Go
tell
ahead.
our coaches, guys named Smith and Jones can play football too.
Yes.
Let's work on recruiting those guys.
Get the ball in their hands too, right? That makes life a lot
Yeah,
easier.
right,
I tell
exactly.
people all the time, I've never messed up a Smith or a Jones or a Johnson in my life, so I'm
That's right.
pretty good with
I'm
those.
good with those.
Mark, how do you not get too high or too low? You mentioned you're an Iowa fan. How do you make sure that there's not disappointment in your voice or there's not too much, enthusiasm? I mean, you can have the enthusiasm, obviously, and you do, but how do you balance that, I guess, as an Iowa fan, and then obviously the job as the public address announcer?
Well, on the top end, I don't think my job was to be a cheerleader. I don't think that's what the department wanted. I don't think the Big Ten necessarily appreciates that. And so it hasn't been difficult to not, and that's just not my personality anyway, Matt. The upper end of things has not been all that difficult. On the bottom end, to try and not, be sounding like I just feel awful that we lost or whatever. That's a little more difficult, but it's part of the job. And and if you're up doing what I'm doing, it's fairly easy to just recount what happened. When I'm not on the mic, I have a button to push, and when I push that, I can talk to the crowd, and if I don't push the button, nothing happens. I mean, we talk about stuff in the press box too. I mean, I may sound like I'm not unhappy about a loss or something, but it's there. It just you make the statement about who won, and thanks for coming, and we move on, and so it's just something that has not been particularly difficult for me to do because it's part of the job.
Mark, you've been blessed with a great voice. I'm envious of your voice. But I get colds. I get laryngitis like twice a year. That drives me crazy. Do you ever wake up on a November cold day and go, uh-oh, I feel something coming on? Have you battled laryngitis, colds, those kind of things throughout your career as the voice at Kinnick Stadium?
Well, really no, but two things. I was in the hospital 2 days before a game one time,
Oh, geez.
and I was, so there was a little bit of scrambling in the background trying to make sure that if I'm not there, what's going to happen. But and then for that game that I mentioned, the Ohio State game, I lost my voice as that game went on. It got worse, and at the end of the game, I always thought that probably the fans thought it was the nicest I'd ever been to them, because as they ran on the field, I made the stock announcement, please leave the field or whatever, but I kind of whispered it to them, and I always felt like they thought, gee, he's such a nice guy, he's whispering to us, asking us to leave. But that's really the only two times. But I will tell you, I've tried pretty hard to be careful about what happens the week of a game. So I try not to go skiing or do something crazy the week of a football game. Spend too much time outside or whatever.
I hear you. I love it. Coach Mark, before I let you go, I want to talk about Coach Ferentz, because that's been the guy for so many years for you, and to have a foundation and stability in a program. I mean, it affects so many different people. When I say Kirk Ferentz, what comes to your mind? Obviously, professionally, there's one thing, but personally as well.
Oh, I mean, Kirk is he's steady, and he is so good about remembering, the people around him, and of course, he's got his way of doing business as far as running the program. But I mean, he mentioned that I was retiring in his Tuesday press conference or whatever. He mentioned John Campbell from Cedar Rapids, and that is not uncommon for Kirk at all. He's just a real steady, down to earth, the kind of guy that you kind of like to hang around with. I mean, he just is. He's very thoughtful. He doesn't miss much when it comes to things like like my retirement, for example, and yet the other side of him is I would not want to have a debate with him. I mean, he's sharp, and he doesn't necessarily show that a lot, particularly when it comes to news conferences or whatever. But he's got a very great. He's really got a good mind, and he's got a good sense of humor. And I've always appreciated him. I was here when he came, and our relationship's always been good. He sent me a text. I sent him a note and said, "Hey, I'm going to retire at the end of this year." And he wrote back and he said, 26 years, that's all you're going to do. And, so I wrote him back and said, I'm never going to catch you. So I guess I'll retire.
I love it.
So,
love it.
So he's a great guy. I've enjoyed my relationship with him. It's not, I mean, we don't spend a lot of time together, but he's just the kind of guy you'd like to be around. He's a good man.
All right, Mark, before I let you go, opener next year, Kinnick Stadium, where will you be?
Well, I'll be in the stands somewhere. I'm not sure where. My intention is not to try and go to the press box. I think I'd like to keep my distance from whoever my successor is and let them do their thing. I don't want to be in the way. I don't want people to spend a lot of time coming to me and saying, we miss you, we want you back or whatever, and that wouldn't be a shock because that's just the way people are. They're resistant to change a lot. And it's not, that I was in that same boat after Father Bob, they go, they, I'm sure missed him.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the way it is. So I'll be sitting in the stands somewhere cheering on the Hawkeyes. I haven't sat in my seats for 37 years. I think maybe it's about time I do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Mark, I asked you for 15 minutes. You gave me 30. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I could probably do 60, but I won't make you do that with me. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, you're exactly what I listened to for my 25 years down on the sidelines. You did it at an extremely high level. You will be missed, but you get to enjoy retirement now, and that's the beauty part of it. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up again with you soon. Be good.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
All right. That is Mark Abbott, the retiring longtime public address announcer at Kinnick Stadium. As you can tell, amazing voice, did an amazing job. But there's the face behind the voice and really a good human being as well, which is awesome to see. So we got more to get to. We've got more right after this break here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Monday right here in the Quad Cities. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a gloomy Monday in the Quad Cities. Basketball season is officially here. In Illinois, the girls started last week. The boys start this week. So we're going to try to preview as many basketball teams as we can. I've already gotten complaints. I had somebody say to me, we previewed Rock Island last week on Friday, and somebody was already complaining that we're only doing Western Big Six schools. And I'm like, just give me a chance to complain. We're going to try to get to as many as possible. And one of the stories last year in our area were the Sherrard boys, where they had a fantastic regular season and postseason run, and they were led by this handsome fellow right here. Alex Johnson joins us from over at Sherrard. First and foremost, my friend, I appreciate you doing this. Happy opening night. I think you guys played tonight. Happy opening day, opening night.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. It's we're going up to Oregon tonight, taking the bus trip up there, playing a good Indian Creek team. But we're excited. Basketball's back, and Sherrard basketball got pretty good following, and I know a lot of people are excited around here to get the season going.
You mentioned that, and they got a great following last year, especially when it came to what you guys did. And I know it's a different season, and we're going to talk about this year, but what was, looking back, what did a season like that do for you and your program and what you're trying to accomplish and maybe get to on a year in and year out basis at Sherrard?
Yeah, 4 years ago when I decided to come back to Sherrard, the whole idea was try to bring Sherrard basketball back to where it was in the 90s when they were competing for championships and playing in sectionals and, just had the following. That's when I was a kid and being in the stands and watching all those types of things. So I knew it was there. I know what type of a community we have, and I know that if it would come back, it'd be something special. And so that has really driven us the last 3 years to try to build that type of program. And fortunately, all the pieces just kind of worked out right. When you have great players and great senior leaders like we did last year, Ryland and James and Aiden and Brody and the whole list of them, then it just really kind of makes for that special season. And what it has done though now, because you had that year, now we have all these third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders. They're all interested in basketball at Sherrard. They're talking about it. Ryland and James, and Alex Spangler, they came to our showcase night on Friday. All those kids were running up to them, giving them high fives, excited to see them. And you just kind of build that basketball culture. And, not everywhere I go, but, I live in Matherville. There's only about 25 people there. But when I do go to the post office, somebody's going to ask me about the basketball. If I go to the corner Martin Sherrard, somebody's going to ask me about basketball and how the team's looking. And that's exactly what we want from our team and our program. You
mentioned that special group of senior leaders and players. Coach, they were seniors. That means they're not here now. What was, the off season like and practice like when you guys get rolling and you're used to seeing some familiar faces out there for so many years, and it's a different look when it comes to Sherrard basketball this year?
Yeah, there's definitely some growing pains, but we had a really good summer. I think we were a lot more competitive than what people thought we were going to be. But coming in here to the first week of season, there's still a lot of unknowns, and we just don't have a lot of court experience. I mean, we do have two great leaders back in Carter Brown and Ryder Veranda, so we're gonna rely on them quite a bit. But I think there's going to be a lot of names that people don't know yet, but they're going to figure out pretty quickly because those guys have been putting in a lot of time. They've gotten themselves in the weight room. They've gotten bigger and stronger. They got a lot of shots up with our coaches. And so we're confident. It might take some growing pains early, but we're confident that this team can compete at a championship level.
You mentioned your seniors in Ryder and Carter. Can you talk about them a little bit? I know Carter is such a big part of the football team and probably battling back from some nicks and bruises on the football field as well. But what is it like to have two guys like that, especially Carter, a guy that's played in so many games, and Ryder as well, so many big games and big moments for this team. What's it like to have those guys, and what do they give this program? Maybe not just on the court, but when it comes to what we just talked about, culture and leadership off the court as well.
Yeah, they know that the standard is the standard. And so how they act is exactly how we want our basketball players to act. And our juniors, sophomores, freshmen, they all look up to them. So it kind of builds that continuity within our program, absolutely. On the court, because they're both guards and they both can play on the ball, off the ball, that just makes your life a lot easier as a coach. That, you have two guys out there that have been with you for a while, that they know what you want as a coach, and they're going to be able to execute that at a high level. So, if you're going to have two players back, only two players back, those are two good kids to have to really kind of get things settled in for the other players while they're trying to gain the experience.
Talk to me about some of those new faces and maybe a player or two that we will get to know. I don't know. We knew Ryland for a while, Carton, but he really, exploded on the scene a little more last year as well. Obviously, every coach wants a Ryland Carton or two on their team. Are there some names that you're like, okay, I'm excited about what these young people can do?
Yeah, there's several. One thing is that when you're trying to build a program, there's a lot of different ways to do that, but, we really are a senior-oriented program, and we do have 7 seniors. A lot of these guys were a key piece of the team last year. They were our scout team, but now they're going to be, in our starting lineup, and they're going to be the first guys off the bench. So, you have guys like Jackson Jones and Emery Partlow, Aiden Bajeski. They have now been with us for 4 years. So they're going to be able to fit in, play Sherrard Tiger basketball. But then we have some younger guys coming through too. Brylan Bender, he had a significant leg injury his sophomore year. So his freshman year, wasn't quite back his sophomore year, but he is an all-conference caliber player. And so whether it's this year or next year, he has the work ethic, he has the determination. He's going to be a really good player, and he's about 6'4" as well. Javin Jones, another junior for us, can play point guard. But then and he's done a heck of a job the first 2 weeks. We're really excited about where he's at. And then we got a host of other guys. We got Gavin Cottrell, who can play in the middle for us and get time. Quinn O'Donnell, who is a senior for us, like the guys I just mentioned. But then we have a couple young kids, Don Fahrenkrog, about 6'6". He's going to have to figure it out a little bit in terms of physicality, but we're really excited about him. And then we don't typically do it, but we do have a freshman, and he's probably going to get a lot of time right away. His name's Nolan Klein. And when you look at him, when we line up here early in the season, most people are going to think he's probably a junior or senior. He's built that way. He's that mature, but he's only a freshman. And so I think he's going to turn some heads early in the season as well. Big thing, like you said here, Ryland Carton kind of came on the scene. No one really knew about it. That's what we do. We're going to work. We're going to work behind the hours. There's a lot of guys that are a lot better than them. People might, they might be thinking, well, Blackwell's gone, Carton's gone. I don't know about the Tigers, but, we work all year. Some of these guys, I think they're going to rise to the occasion for us this year.
You mentioned the Bender kid. Hopefully his dad doesn't mess stuff up. He's a goofball. So despite his dad, hopefully he does. I kid. I love his dad as well. You mentioned like the expectations. I thought it was interesting because I don't know anything. I'm just a dumb media guy, but I know you lost a lot, and the predictions for the conference and your division came out, and you had some first place votes, and I think you're ranked second. I know you don't get into that kind of stuff, but I thought it was interesting that the conference still thought highly of Sherrard despite the departures. So I guess my dumb question is, does second place, is that gratifying, or is that like, how dare you? Why isn't it first place?
It's just noise right now. All right?
Good answer.
It's just, yeah. And so preseason rankings are tough as it is. I think that the coaches probably got it right for the most part. Orion's going to be a talented team. Where the conference was really strong last year, us and Rockridge are top 10, 15 teams in the state. I don't know if teams are, at that, but top end might have came down a little bit, but the bottom end has came up. And so what I think you're going to see is just really, really competitive basketball all the way through the conference. And so we want to be the number one team. We don't mix our words. We want to win every championship. We want to win every game that we possibly can win, but we also understand it's a process. And so it's how you get to that level is what you do every day at practice, how you perform in every game, that you build that culture of that we're going to compete all the time. And so, but we want to be number one. We'll see if it happens.
Coach, you look at the culture that you build. I want to talk about that a little bit more before we let you go, because I see on social media, I'm going to butcher it, but practice in the park or whatever it is during the off season that you guys do. You mentioned the 3rd, 4th, 5th graders. I got too many kids, so I have 3rd, 4th, 5th graders. Well, 3rd and 5th grade. I don't have a 4th grader, but there is an excitement about what Sherrard is doing and what's going on out there. Talk about the culture that you've built, and it's not just at the high school. It's not just between 3:30 and 5:30 when you're practicing or whatever it may be. It seems like it's a school-wide thing. It seems like it's a community-wide thing, more importantly. And you had that vision. You talked about at the beginning. How important is it to have the community and everybody bought in, not just finding 10 guys every year to buy in and do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely huge. And I mean, it starts with you got to surround yourself with great people that are like-minded. And so my coaching staff has now been with me for the whole time I've been at Sherrard for 4 years, and they are absolutely top notch. And so they share the same mission. And even though I just alluded that we want to win every game, that is not necessarily our priority. Our priority is to make these young men better people. And so they understand that when they come in, that is what we are trying to accomplish with Sherrard basketball. Everybody has a spot in our program, whether it's players or cheerleaders or band or whatever it is that everyone has a spot in our program. And we want this program to have that communal feel that you're talking about. We treat everybody with respect. We want everyone to be a part of it, because the 15 guys or so that get to play on Friday nights in front of the crowd, we want this to be everyone in this together, all hands on deck, and really kind of bring that pride to our community.
Coach, before we let you go, you mentioned the players on the court and the work you've done there. Tell me about these guys off the court. And they seem like a bunch of great dudes last year. We had Rylan on the show. You could see what kind of kids they were. And that's important as well. I know it's cliche. The chemistry word gets thrown out so much, but what kind of kids are these off the court? And that's an important thing as well. Give me the personality maybe of this basketball team before we let you go.
They're goofballs. Yeah, they're 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. Ryder Veranda, he's your typical chippy 5'9" guard that runs his mouth to everybody. So he gets everybody going. Aiden Bajeski is kind of this airhead kid. One day he was rushing because he was late for a morning practice, and he came in with one shoe on. It's just stuff like that. And the thing of it is, they are close. They are friends, and they get along. That's really great to see. And the culture is strong here. And, that's the buzzword everyone talks about is stuff like that culture. But, one way that I notice it from program to program and, teams I've coached is, the little things is like, do you have to coach effort? Do you have to coach attitude? And that if you're a good team, you don't have to worry about that. Teams that struggle have to coach effort. They have to coach attitude. And that is really, really frustrating as a coach. And with this group, through the first 2 weeks, we don't coach that stuff. We coach basketball because we got serious basketball players. They don't show up late. They're always early. And then if they're going to miss or something's going to happen, they're going to communicate that ahead of time. And I know that sounds like a really small things, but that is they have respect for themselves. They have respect for our program. And so those little things do add up. But back to my original part, at heart, they're 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So you don't know what's going to happen on a daily basis, but they're a lot of fun to be around. That's for sure.
Love to hear it. Hey, Coach, there's a net hanging behind you. I guess my first question is what C-League East Moline Glass Championship? And I got to make sure I say East Moline. The EMG brand in the world of C-League basketball was so historic for so many years. Is that Championship 1 that we won together, Championship 2 that we won together, or is that Championship 3 that I felt like I carried us to? Which one is it?
This is championship 1. I can't find the championship 3 net. I think that you might have that one somewhere. But yeah, that first one's the most memorable. We finally broke through as a powerhouse in the C-League division. I'll never forget that one. That first was like your firstborn, right?
I don't think people realize how, because it's a dumb story and some people know about it, some people don't. We played rec basketball together and we won some championships. We, as in I, BS the referees and ran my mouth, and other people did a lot more work than I did. But we have banners in a gym somewhere. Do you remember the championship ring? I don't want to get into it, but do you remember it at least? Or do you know where it's at?
I remember it.
Yeah, there's a championship ring for one of the years. So that's what you do when you get old and you can't play basketball at the real level. You give yourself banners and championship rings and cut down nets. That's not actually one of those nets. So in all honesty, which net is it? Do you know behind you?
This regional championship, I think, from last year.
All right.
Yeah, regional championship. But I think I know where my jersey's at. So next time, if I'm lucky enough to be on the Randazzo show, I'll wear my EMG jersey.
If you do, I have mine downstairs. I just found it like 2 weeks ago. My wife's like, "What is this? Throw this away." I'm like, "You mean throw this in the rafters, right? Like what do we mean throw it away? It's 23, obviously. I mean, it makes sense that I was 23. So, all right, enough about our dumbness. Alex, I always appreciate you. Win a bunch of games this year, and yes, we'll talk again real soon. I appreciate you, my friend. Be good.
I appreciate you as well, Matt. Have a great day.
You bet. That is Alex Johnson, head coach out at Sherrard. The Tigers get started tonight as well. We're going to continue to do as many basketball previews as we can until the season continues to roll, and we are talking actually season itself, which it's here. Ready or not, here it comes. High school basketball season is officially here. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA on a Monday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a gloomy Monday in the Quad Cities. Late November. Things are busy in football. They're busy with basketball coming up. We just got done talking with Alex Johnson. I can't believe high school basketball officially is here. It started for the young ladies last week in Illinois as well, but starting for everyone this week. So a busy time of year and a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. So I spend my Mondays with I don't know if it's like a segment, Johnny, or if it's like a therapy session. I don't know if it's like I should send you a bill maybe at the end of this and all that kind of stuff. John Marx joining me for a little Marxy Monday here on OTA. Johnny, first and foremost, we've kind of talked about it throughout with you coming on the shows on Mondays. One of my favorite Marks is Jackson Marks. Well, Tanya, I'm going to cry. I don't want to get in trouble, but Jackson senior day yesterday. Get through it without getting too emotional. Yeah, I know you're proud of that young man. Last football game of his college career on Saturday.
Yep, I cried every rep he got, Matt. And I'll be honest with you, I might do it right now for what he's been through and how many people go through has snapped the ball 300 times at their college career and don't have a miss and don't have a bad op. And it's pretty special. Start as an NAIO American and you end up in FBS, the 13th ranked snapper in the country, and then played linebacker and got his opportunity for a variety of options through the season and then played some special teams and then ended his career on the field as a linebacker. So yes, very, very proud. Matty, he even made out a list to tell people thanks. So
wow.
Starting with you and Tom and your wife and Marv Cook and Jason Dumont, Eddie Hinkle and Coach Nave and Mike Woodley and John Micheletti. I'm reading it. So
no, you're good.
Ron Crook at Virginia Tech, Dan Brown and Ben Albert at UMass were phenomenal. His agent, Adam Tanowski, and then Coach Harding, Coach Morrissey, Jerry Burkhead, Robbie Burkhead, Pace and Blue. He loves those. You know all those people. Yeah. Dave DeJager, Todd DePorter, Mike Tracy, Steve Ebner, the guys that along with Marv Cook and Dumont made him a football player. And then the Carpitas, the Hodges, the Welches, John Barrett Sr., we bless you, and then my Rock Valley family. But you know how tough it's been. You know all the good times. And
there's been some up and downs, but he's done a fantastic job, Johnny. He's just an amazing kid.
How many Division I football players from our area? Not
too many.
Yeah. At two positions. So, I'm done. No more bragging. Just excited. And he got accepted into the doctoral physical therapy program at Clark University. That's the most important part of it all. And he'll be putting your old rear end back together someday.
No, he will be. And the beauty part, I joke, but the best part of Jackson's 3-stop career was that I got a T-shirt from every stop. So
and you got one coming.
Yeah, that's the beauty thing.
You got another one. And his mother doesn't get. She kind of picks up the pieces for when I get emotional, and she made sure and you get this because of your wife. My wife made sure I was on time for every flight. Every connection got made. Of course, sometimes the plane was landing and the plane was boarding in Atlanta on a Sunday night. But and she never, ever batted an eye about now. Sometimes she would go, sometimes she wouldn't. But she never batted an eye about putting my old butt on a plane. On a
Johnny,
Friday or Saturday.
Let's be honest. So. Sometimes it's okay to ship your old butt off someplace. It's probably a blessing in disguise for her as well.
I think it was for her. She just so she could get some things done.
Yes. My wife would love to get rid of me any way possible. So super smart young man. You know I love that kid. We're super proud of him in the Randazzo family. And I'm going to miss the updates, but we're going to continue to get the updates as we go along as well.
Y'all big part. It
was a crazy weekend of sports. I think we'll start in the NFL because the Bears are 8-3. They're still in first place. I'll get your thoughts before I give my thoughts, and I'll say this real fast. I've said this every week. You don't complain about beating bad teams because a win is a win. Both of teams this weekend played awful when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Lions, and they both end up winning football games. So at the end of the day, a win is a win. Your thoughts on the 8-3 Bears beating the Aaron Rodgers-less Pittsburgh Steelers?
My thought is what's going to happen when that first half from Sunday carries over into half number 2 with your first round quarterback, the number 1 pick overall. That was atrocious. Now, did he right the ship? Yes. Does he have weapons? Yes. And that's the positive you take from yesterday, and then the defense actually making a stop late when it had to. That's another positive. And those are football games that they didn't. One time they didn't have to come back and win. They had an opportunity to take care of business and win themselves and hold on to a lead. That's really good. That's a learning the learning curve you go through. I'm not sold. And they didn't run the football very well. I'm still not sold on the superstar that they think Caleb Williams is going to be. You know me, I'm still the Tyson Bagent fan, so always will be. But they let Pittsburgh back in a football game a couple times. Yeah. And now, mind you, am I watching it? No, I'm listening to it on the way home from out of town. So and then I watched it last night. So really ugly first half. And speaking of ugly, we'll get to your Lions. But the other part of it is I would really like to see it without. They played a football team that's poor in defending the pass and only had, I believe, 239 yards passing.
Yeah.
For a team that was giving up 261 or 270 a game. So they should have taken advantage of that. But as you said, Maddie, 8-3 is 8-3. Win's a win. You never apologize, especially in the NFL. You don't apologize anywhere when you win a football game.
Yeah.
Ever.
You look at it, Johnny, if you would have told me November 24th, whatever it is, that the Bears were in first place, I would have said the Bears are in first place because of Caleb Williams. Like, that's the only way I thought in my mind that this could happen was like, all right, if that happens, if the result is first place on November 24th, it would have been because Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams clicked, and it's been amazing, and it's going to be great for the next 15 years, and I'd probably be depressed and not happy as a Lions fan. That's not what it's been. Like, I don't know long-term wise how far, because he's still been, I think he was close to 50% passing. I mean, over 50%, but he wasn't 60% passing. He made some mistakes. The fumble play was atrocious and bad. So and they didn't run the football. They found a way to win. I'm going to read off. This is what people have been doing. And if you want to make a Bears fan mad, read this list. These are the last 6 quarterbacks that the Bears have faced. Mason Rudolph, J.J. McCarthy. Shame on my Lions for losing to J.J. McCarthy, by the way. Jackson Dart, Joe Flacco, Tyler Huntley, and Spencer Rattler. You also can throw Geno Smith onto that list of people that they played. Now, they did beat people. I asked somebody, like, what's a good quarterback the Bears are beating? Dak Prescott's playing really good football right now, and they beat them. So they did do that earlier this season. Jaden Daniels, I don't know how good of a quarterback he is. I don't think we all know yet. He was really good year 1, wasn't great and injured this year. But they continue to take advantage of what's given in front of them. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I'm just surprised the way it's looked. And I don't know what it looks like long term. I don't know if this is, and people can get mad. It seems like every 5 or 6 years the Bears have that season where it's like, man, they got this crazy play to happen, or that lucky play to happen, or they got this injury, that injury, and they've had a special season. And that's probably this season. Like, the playoffs are going to happen. I think it's a 70% chance right now. They got to find themselves 2 more victories. So you got to think that's going to happen. Browns are out there, excuse me, although that's a different game than maybe it was. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyways, it's a playoff team. I just don't know if it's sustainable, if it's like completely fixed moving forward, or if it's just one of those crazy lucky seasons. I'll say this, Bears defense finding ways to make some plays. They're beat up. I mean, everybody is right now, but 3 linebackers out, cornerbacks are out, although the young quarterback who had another interception, really good. And he continues to make plays continues to make good plays. So, I mean, I guess my big rant about the Bears is that I still don't know. I'm not, like, as a Lions fan, I'm not overly concerned big picture wise. This year, I'm very concerned. I think I'm very concerned that they can win a few more games. I don't know if they can't win the division. But it does get much more difficult coming up after this. So anyways, back to my original point. Should the quarterback list be brought up when it comes to the Bears and the people they've beaten? And I want to say this too, barely beaten. Like there's a lot of bad quarterbacks in the NFL. You're going to play a lot of bad quarterbacks. Does it matter who you're playing, or should you just be happy that you got the victory and you're moving forward?
Yes and no. Yes for Lions fans, Packers fans, etc., so they can always have something to throw at the Bears. That's the argument. To real football in the NFL, absolutely not. There's a reason those guys. Well, I don't care if they're backup. Seriously, there's a reason they are in that league. They are elite. They're elite at something. And being an NFL quarterback, they might not be the top 31, but they are elite enough to be on an NFL roster. So you have to respect that. If you're a Bears fan, and you made a great point, Matt, about every 4 or 5 years. Matt Nagy is now the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, and they're struggling as well. But we all thought he was the second coming and the savior. We really did. And they had a healthy Mitchell Trubisky at the time and a running game. And that was that season they got in the playoffs. We thought, hey, here we go. No, it's the Bears. But the other part to that, and God rest her soul, the last vestige of George Halas, and I mean this with no disrespect, of not spending. And you just spent $13 million a year on a head coach. You've eliminated. You've finally thrown out the McCaskey stigma of not paying, and now you have one, and now you're paying players, and now you have to go forward. If this is a playoff year, then you have to continue to pay to add to those pieces, because this cycle, Matt, and you watch the Chiefs, watch the Bills, watch your Lions, and watch the Eagles, who peed all over themselves yesterday. It's all cyclical, and this is the way the NFL wants it. It's cyclical.
Yeah. Oh, 100.
You're going to have 5 years of goodness, and then there are 6 years, and then there's going to be a dip somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad football teams in the NFL. It's hard to find, it's not like you look at a schedule and be like, oh, we get to play all these tough teams. Well, the Lions schedule is rough, but there's a lot. You watch it yesterday and you're watching the Raiders and the Browns and there's so many different teams. You're just like, the Jaguars and the Cardinal game, they're not two good football teams. They're okay, but they're not like the days of there being like really good football teams. There's, I think 10 maybe in the league. I don't know if there's 7 teams make the playoffs in the NFC. I don't know if there's not 7 great teams in the NFC. No. There's probably 7 good ones, but there's definitely not 7 great ones. So I think the biggest thing that I get in trouble for is pointing out the quarterback list, which is what I might call it, is you don't apologize for it. Like, Bears fans shouldn't have to apologize. It is what it is. They have a 4th place schedule. They're taking advantage of having a 4th place schedule, and they're winning those games. I will do this as well, and I'm going to bring it up on the show Wednesday. We're not going to do a show tomorrow. I want to go back and look at the quarterbacks they played against last year. And they played against and lost 2 bad quarterbacks last year, if that makes sense. So they're beating bad quarterbacks. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because they're playing against a bad quarterback doesn't mean you automatically win the game. Like, you have to go out and win football games. And to their credit, they're winning football games. They have to get the coach right. I think they've got it right. They have to get the quarterback right. I don't know if he's still going to. Now it's year 2 and all those kind of things. I don't know if they've got that right yet. We'll see, but I don't know for sure. They go to Philadelphia on Friday. As a Lions fan, I kind of wanted to see Philly lose yesterday, just because of the fact, well, one, it brings them closer down to where you need to be. Now, mind you, they have the tiebreaker and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
2, I think the Bears are, do you want to be Chicago going to Philadelphia after they just lost a football game?
No.
Your thoughts on Black Friday. And here, Bears fans, you get your chance. Like, this is the first good team you've played since no, I'll take that back. The Steelers are a good football. No, I will.
This is killing you. This is killing you to admit this.
No. The Steelers are a good football team. I have to take that back. The Steelers, they have a really good defense. They run the football. They have a good coaching staff. They had a backup quarterback in, but they beat a good football team yesterday. And there should be nothing to be ashamed about that. So I don't want to get that into, but But it's the first, besides Pittsburgh, it's been a minute since they played a really good football team, right?
But you still have your list. You're so
I stole it. I stole it.
I know. You got your list. You carry it with you everywhere. That's your ammo, your Lions ammo.
Which you called all of these guys elite. Let me know which. Like Mason Rudolph's not elite. He's elite if he's playing college football someplace. But in the NFL,
where's he playing? Wait a minute. Where did he play yesterday?
Who's that?
Where did Mason Rudolph play yesterday?
At Soldier Field in Chicago,
NFL, correct?
Yeah.
No, in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, just because you play in the NFL doesn't make you elite.
Baloney.
Johnny, there's a lot of bad quarterbacks. Jay, how about this?
You're an elite skill play athlete, whatever.
Just because you're on TV at night doesn't make you elite. Like just because somebody's playing in a league doesn't make they're good quarterbacks compared to the night. I'm not comparing them to me.
You're losing your mind.
No,
You've lost your mind. Stop. They're all elite.
Johnny.
Matt, no, stop. When you do your show, do you go straight to the press box, or do you ever stand on the field and watch those? Just answer my question for a minute. Do you watch those athletes? Do you stand on the sideline and watch Iowa play?
Yeah, they're
athletes. Stop. Let me finish. Okay, you stand. Do you ever go to high school football games and watch those?
Yeah.
Okay, now gifted at high school, gifted level, gifted to play high school football.
Yes.
Let me finish. Okay, elite to play. If you're playing on Saturday, I don't care where you're playing, you're good. If you are playing at the level that you get to stand on and watch, you are elite. If you are playing on Sunday, and I don't care where, Matt, or you're on an NFL roster, or you're on an NFL practice squad, look, let me finish. You are elite. Now, there are levels of elite, but don't disparage Mason Rudolph or anybody in the NFL by saying not good.
Johnny, I'm not comparing Mason Rudolph to like me and elite. You. And elite. No, they're bad. That's a bad quarterback. In the NFL, Mason Rudolph is the word Mason Rudolph and elite aren't in the same. They should never be in the same sentence.
Everybody who steps on to that NFL field.
So Spencer Rattler should be concerned. But you're comparing them to us and to everybody else.
Elite.
You have to separate. In the NFL, okay, but in the NFL,
there's levels of elite. Don't disparage guys that are really good.
So what's elite? If they're elite, if Mason Rudolph's elite,
but
what's Caleb Williams? What's Caleb Williams?
Gifted, elite.
So more elite?
Yeah, there's levels of elite. Yes, didn't you just listen to me?
Okay.
Everybody who makes an NFL roster is an elite athlete.
No, I get that, but you're comparing the rest of the world. I'm not comparing.
They're good, or they wouldn't be taking that play. They're all good.
They're in the NFL for a reason, but the NFL doesn't have a lot of good quarterbacks.
They're elite.
The NFL doesn't have a lot of good quarterbacks, right?
Oh my God!
But they don't. The NFL doesn't have.
You see, you're not going to get me after watching all this to say someone's not elite. Again, there are levels of it, yes. But don't say that some guy's not good.
Mason Rudolph's not a good quarterback. He's not a good NFL quarterback. If he was a good NFL quarterback, he would be starting in the NFL, right? He's a backup quarterback.
You go have 7-on-7 with your boys today, so you feel better about yourself.
But I'm not comparing him to me. I'm comparing them to other NFL players.
Don't disparage NFL players.
NFL players are the 1%.
And I know that's your thing.
Hold on, but then you can't disparage. You can't disparage Caleb then.
NFL quarterback.
Yes, he sucks. Mason Rudolph's not a good quarterback. He's better than me. He's better than me. He's better than you. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about him compared to Aaron Rodgers. Is Aaron Rodgers or Mason Rudolph a better quarterback?
Both are elite.
But which one's better?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so what's the description for Aaron Rodgers?
Elite, Hall of Fame.
Okay, so Mason Rudolph's an elite quarterback. Why doesn't he start in the NFL?
Because he's playing behind a Hall of Famer.
So every quarterback in the NFL is elite.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's It's just we're going to go around in circles. I think these are bad quarterbacks. I'm a Lions fan. I've lived my life watching bad quarterbacks. Joey Harrington is not elite. He sucks. Mitch Trubisky isn't elite. He sucks. Justin Fields isn't a good quarterback. That's the whole. They're playing less than good quarterbacks is my whole point when it comes to the Bears. They're playing less, but they're winning games.
You hold on to whatever you have to do with whatever says across your shirt right there.
Hey, we'll talk about them. We'll get to the Lions. Johnny, that was bad yesterday. Like they're not right when it comes to, it's not and here's the thing. I'll say this with this caveat. We've been spoiled. Lions fans have been spoiled for the last 2.5, 3 years. So it's crazy when they punt, they boo. And it's like, well, punting's part of football. But when you're not scoring every single possession like they have, I don't know. And I'll ask you, you might not have watched a lot of them. In my opinion, yes, they miss Ben Johnson, and obviously he's a great mind. They miss the guys up front that they had last year. Frank Ragnow was the best center in football. I think the front interior offensive line is a bit of a struggle, and I love Dan Campbell, but like I feel like he's doing a lot of different things, and maybe calling plays might not be the best thing for him to. Anyways, I don't know, but I don't know if it's just as easy as saying Ben Johnson's not there, that's why they're not good. I think there's a lot of other things that are going on with that team, but they didn't play well yesterday, Johnny. They won, but they didn't play well.
Right. Matty, how many yards did Jahmyr Gibbs have? 200 what?
219.
Okay, no. Then don't badmouth the offensive line.
Yeah, but no.
Those elite back. Those holes don't open themselves at that level. Come on.
No, I get it, but
okay.
But when that hole opens, that guy makes sure it's 69 yards and not like 6 yards, 7 yards. Okay. And I'm not saying, again, everybody's elite because they're playing in the NFL, so I can't bash anybody in the NFL because they're elite. But like going from a Frank Ragnow to a Graham Glasgow is a big difference. And they got some guys beat up inside. I'm just saying I think the play on the offensive line is a bigger proponent than not having Ben there. But I think Ben is a factor, and it looks so right now it does. And again, I'm complaining because they scored 34 points. And if you still go look at the stats, the Lions are in the top 5 in the NFL and all the offensive stuff. But I think talent wins, and that takes over mainly towards the end.
You've grown used to over the last, and good for you. You've grown used to over the last 2.5, 3 years of wins for your football, the program that you love, not being disjointed. Does that make by 4 quarters are solid, and that could be Dan Campbell calling plays. It could be a difference in Ben Johnson's offense, but you can't complain about scoring 34. I don't care even if it's overtime. The other part of it is, Matty, I think they struggle up front defensively right now, and their teams are getting to the next level. And linebackers are taxed. Your defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson is there's double. There's double teams at every turn for him. So they're exploiting some things on the back end. And the Giants, let's just take that. They don't know how to win. That's all that is. Yeah. And the Lions have learned to do that. I think you make a mountain out of a molehill with the Lions, and eventually they'll get to the playoffs. I mean, and then maybe the expectations might be don't take offense, one rung lower than it has been the last year and a half. They kind of blew everybody out of the water a season ago. Things change. Teams get better. Athletes are elite at that level. Thank you.
That's better. They're elite athletes, not good quarterbacks, but they're elite athletes.
They're all elite. Yes, they're all. Sorry, but I don't think it's Dan Campbell taking time to call the plays. I really don't. He's still in charge. Yeah. He's involved. Even when John Morton was calling the plays, he's in the headset. So just it took overtime, and I'm sure you were losing your mind as were your boys. So the frustration is there.
You know what's crazy, Johnny? Real fast. I had to go to a basketball game for Carson. So
good Lord.
My brother was over, and the kids, and like I just went and watched Carson play, and I monitored it just on my phone. I didn't watch it. You can watch it on the YouTube TV, whatever. And you know what? I felt like I saved, good or bad, I saved 3 or 4 years of my life, because I didn't have to deal with it. I looked, I was like, cool, happy they won. And then I went back and I watched it when I got home, just laid back. And I'm like, I even said to like Charlie, I'm like, what was going on when this happened? Like, what were you guys doing when this happened? Because I can only imagine watching what the basement was like at that part as well. Two quick things on that. The Lions, I said last year they were 15-2, and that's not going to happen again. And they were beat up as all beat up could be. And I felt like they weren't going to win a Super Bowl because of the health. And I know everybody's beat up. I'm not using that as an excuse, but they were extremely, extremely beat up to guys that you just can't lose and win a Super Bowl. I will take barely getting into the playoffs or whatever if you can be somewhat healthy. I'd rather have that than the opposite. And then with the Giants, you're right. You are what your record is in the NFL, so I get that. And they're 2-10. But they beat the Phillies. They beat the Eagles. They should have beat the Bears. They could. Yep. I don't want to say should have. They had a chance to beat the Bears. They had a chance to beat the Packers. They had the chance to beat the Broncos. So it's a decent. There's some talent on that team. I'm not sugarcoating it. That was a game the Lions should have won by double figures, and I should have been going to Carson's game in peace and not having to deal with all that. But it's crazy. Hey, I want to talk a little college football with you before I let you go, because we've talked a ton of Iowa on this show. We haven't gotten to Illinois. The Illini hit a road bump. They fall at Madison. I kind of saw that coming. I predicted it last week on the show. It just felt like that rivalry game. And you look at Wisconsin, Johnny, that made their season. Not made it, because it's still disappointing, but that sure helps a heck of a lot. And you're storming the field against Illinois, which is different, but that's okay. It's college football. Do it. I was more surprised by the reaction on social media afterwards from fans and from some media as well that they're cranky with Brett Bielema, Johnny. Like, there's fans that are like, no, I'm being serious. I could not believe it. And I was like, they're at 7 wins this year. They never won 7 games in one season under Lovie Smith. They won 17 total games in 5 years under Lovie Smith. They've won 17 games since the start of last season under Brett Bielema. Be disappointed. It wasn't pretty. Nobody's more disappointed than Brett Bielema. I guarantee you that. Nobody's more disappointed than what happened and takes more accountability than what happened than Brett Bielema. But don't be those people that are now complaining because, yes, it's a disappointing season to an extent, but you have 7 victories. You might get 8. You might get 9. It'll be okay long term. Your thoughts on Saturday night with Wisconsin and Illinois?
Would those people that are complaining been happy 4 years ago if they were going to a bowl game? Bottom line.
Yeah.
Jumping up and down. It's like Iowa fans that complain about Coach Ferentz, and I walk away every time it happens. Be thankful for what you have. Now, the other part of it is Coach Bielema has an extension in his contract, and where everybody remember the talk early where, hey, he's going to go down. He's going to be the next guy at Iowa. I mean, now you and I have talked different things about how that transition may happen someday. And I hope it doesn't happen for a while because Coach Ferentz is phenomenal. Okay, back to it. Quit complaining about Brett Bielema. They went into a senior day environment. Now, Iowa kind of laid a bit of an egg for 3.8 plus quarters on senior day, but they won. They win. Wisconsin has had got some guys healthy. They ran the football for the first time. Last time I looked, even though the world wanted him hung at Sunrise, was Luke Fickell has not forgotten how to coach college football. He's surrounded by the right people. They got some people healthy. But the one thing that is concerning to me was the way Wisconsin handled Illinois up front on Saturday, especially running the ball. That and everybody knows that Illinois they talk about how elite they are, especially on the back end with some of the guys that we know. I still think they are defensively. I think they need some work up front. That can be fixed. Please, no matter what you finish, you got a chance to finish 8 and then win a bowl game. And you'd be doing handstands before. Yep. Don't turn on the in-state guy, or he'll have that clause taken out of his contract, and you'll find there's a lot of big time jobs open right now, pal.
Yeah, I was just surprised. I didn't expect to see that. I didn't expect to see that. I mean, I get the disappointment. I totally get it. And fans are fans. And I think it was Dan Burch that always used to tell me fan is short for fanatic. And so just take that into context. So I get it.
But it's nice that they care now.
Yeah.
It's nice that there are expectations. I love that. I am you know that I'm a monster Brett Bielema fan. So please don't. Or you may find his family on a jet to Baton Rouge on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Which that's what you don't want. There are a bunch of big time jobs, and he's already indicated, hey, this is home. I've come back. I just told you I'm not going to take the Iowa job. There's a clause in my contract. So focus on what you have and allow him to continue. Don't let him continue to you take a step back. Things happen. It's college football. The other guys, again, and you're going to laugh at me, the other guys across from you are elite. So, and you lost. Okay. Yeah. You lost in their house on senior day. That happens a lot.
Johnny, before I let you go, Thanksgiving is Thursday. A lot to be thankful for both of us.
Absolutely.
My poll question today is if you have to keep one thing on your Thanksgiving plate, what is it? Turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes and gravy, cranberries. What's the one thing that you have to keep on your plate?
And you'll laugh. This comes from having an athlete in my house who's a protein freak. It's got to be turkey, and it's got to be turkey.
Yeah.
Okay. And with him, a little ham. But the other part of it is something I want to add. Everybody knows that can roll of cranberry.
Yeah.
Not the cranberry, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that, had it in grade school, and I'm addicted to it.
You love
it. I eat that at Thanksgiving and Christmas. That has to be, and my wife I have to do it because she won't put it on my plate.
Johnny, I think, and this is, I'll come around as Thanksgiving is closer, but if it's a day to eat and eat all day, why do we have turkey and stuffing?
Yeah.
Like, why don't we have the best food available? Why don't we have like steaks and spaghetti?
Your dad's meatballs.
Yes. Like, I mean, if I'm eating chips and salsa from Snoop's all day, if that's what I can do. So
pizza.
I just sometimes if turkey if turkey and dressing and all that kind of stuff is so good, why do we only do it one day a year? Why don't we do it more often? So maybe that's just me. Hey, everyone, he is the elite John Marx. I thank you for doing this with me. Have a good Thanksgiving. Tell Jackson I love him. Congrats on a fantastic weekend, my friend. We'll catch up again next Monday. Thanks, pal.
I may see you Friday. Maddie, you know how much everything you've done for me, for my son. I love you, Pally. I appreciate
you. Love you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. That is John Marx here. A lot to be thankful for this week. John Marx, I'm thankful for, as always, despite sometimes not being elite enough. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. We have a lot more to get to. We'll kind of wrap up today's show and get you ready for the week ahead, because a little different week when it comes to scheduling. It is Thanksgiving, but we do have some shows this weekend I want to kind of highlight for you guys as well. We'll do that right after this. You're watching OTA. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Running out of time. It's already past noon, which means we've had a lot of fun here on a Monday. Want to thank my guests, Pat Anger, Mark Abbott, the longtime PA announcer at Kinnick Stadium. If you missed that interview, please go back and check it out. He was amazing. Really enjoyed my time with him. Alex Johnson, the head basketball coach at Sherrard. We previewed the Tigers a little bit, and then of course John Marx tried to figure out what elite is and what elite isn't. Good message on our YouTube thread, if you will. Where's that? Top 5 to 10 at your position in the NFL, Major League, NBA, NHL would be my definition of elite. That's what I was trying to get to. Is yes, if you're playing in the NFL, you're better than me and everybody else. 99.9% of the world, if you will, is better. So anyways, make sure you go check out the beginning parts of the show if you missed all of that. Here's the setup for this week, and then we got to get out of here. No show tomorrow. I got a lot to do in Iowa City. No show coming up tomorrow. Wednesday, we will have a show, so be ready to rock and roll for that. Thursday, no show. It's Thanksgiving. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Friday, we will have a post show after the Iowa game, and then, of course, the weekend as well. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving week. Enjoy getting ready for the food and the fun, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you take our poll question at X right now. If you had to keep only one thing, is it stuffing? Is it turkey? Is it mashed potatoes? I think I put green bean casserole on there because of Pat, but go take that poll as well. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy Tuesday as well. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for another episode of Off the Air. Thanks so much for listening.